Nick, it is 8:17 a.m. How are you doing?
Yes. I woke up and I woke up at 7 and I was like, I'm going to prepare like crazy for this episode. Which I don't know if,
I know I
writing
texted
jokes
you
an
at
hour before.
yeah, I texted you at 7. I was surprised I got a response immediately.
Oh, you got a response immediately. Um, but then I was like, you know what sounds just as good as, preparing the sequence of jokes for this episode, sleeping for another hour. So let me do that instead and just, you know,
I
do
didn't
what
know
we
that
do
you,
best on this show, which is
I didn't
wing
know
it.
you write your own jokes. That's good. I don't,
I do. Well, I was gonna go for the writing team, but then I decided that,
yeah,
maybe for the first year I'll write my own and then we'll bring in the team for the second year.
fair enough. Fair enough. This episode's kind of I don't know, a special one in a way because it's our penultimate episode for the year, right?
Yes.
We will be taking a break for the holidays to spend some time with our family and friends, but yeah, I mean this is I guess our last in a way real episode, but we'll be doing something special for the last episode of the year. But
Yes, which I'm super, super excited about, to be honest, because I think it's going to be really fun without giving it away, I think it's going to be fun to sit down together in person and reflect. Um,
yeah, I agree. And if you want to contribute, because we really want audience participation for that last episode, go to our social media pages and we will have things on our stories and a place for you to comment different things you've enjoyed about the show. So we definitely
yeah,
want you to be a part of that episode.
yes. Um, how are you? And do you want to talk about where you are?
Sure.
It's one of those episodes again where we
It's
are not both in the same state.
yeah, right. I think on one of the episodes I started with "Where is Nicholas now? Go," and I
Yeah.
think that should be something that should be played like for one of us, just to turn it into a
Yeah.
jingle. It should turn into a jingle. Um,
Yeah.
I am in Baltimore again. I spent the weekend at Loyola with some friends for. I came down for the Festival of Lessons and Carols, which is a really wonderful Christmas tradition that the school has. Associate Director of Campus Ministry and Director for Liturgy and Music, George Miller, does a fantastic job of putting the Festival of Lessons and Carols together. It was a great show. It was first time in the last 2 years, because last year, we were in the middle of a pandemic, and we still are in the middle of a pandemic. But last year was completely virtual. This year was in person. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, so I'm in an Airbnb.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, yeah. George Miller does a great job, whatever. I have a bone to pick with him. Because because each year there is a color for Lessons and Carols. You've heard this story before. An accent color. So everybody wears black, but then there's an accent color.
Yes.
And there's an order that he's been going in for 30 years.
Yes.
And why not change it just because I asked him to? He goes green, then he goes red, gold, blue. Why not add purple into that mix? I mean, like, I have told him multiple times we should do purple, and he said you can wear purple, and I was like, no, because then I wouldn't match.
Why
So
do
if
you
you
want
think
purple?
that purple should be added to the Lessons and Carols lineup, email George Miller at no, I'm kidding.
Why specifically purple?
Because it's a cool color. And he was,
okay.
I'm totally kidding, by the way. If I were serious right now, that would be,
I will
I
say
would have
that
too much time on my hands.
I will say that he for this last one this weekend, that was yesterday, he did change the order, because this year was supposed to be green and it was red.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he made that executive
Interesting.
decision.
I'm totally kidding, and I'm saying this with the hopes that he'll hear this because I used to tease him about it all the time. Like, all the time. I hope somebody does play this for him because I used to joke about it, literally almost every year. Like, can we do purple? And he'd say no, and I'd be like, and he was like, you can wear purple, and I was like, no, then I won't match. So
I will when we
he
get
does
this
a
episode
fantastic job with that.
when we get this episode back, we'll when we listen to it, we'll send him a text or an email with a link to
Yes, yes,
his little shout out here.
yes. But in all seriousness, honestly, Lessons and Carols is one of, if not the best event, probably on campus. Honestly,
It's definitely
George
one of
does
the
a
biggest.
phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the biggest. So yeah, I came here for the weekend. It was really good. I actually made an extended weekend. So I came here on Thursday. I'm leaving today. Today is Sunday. And yeah, I made a joke about it because I said, all right, I'm here. And I made a joke about how each day that I'm here it represents a year of my college experience, whatever, which really wasn't because it wasn't super representative. But so Thursday, I went to Rally. I went to Rally at Power Plant. There's this venue in Baltimore called Power Plant Live, and they host this event called Rally in the Alley. And I had never gone, and I went on Thursday, and that was fun. That's like a very freshman thing like to do.
It was your first day there.
First day there for first year, and then
Your freshman
sophomore.
day.
Exactly, and then sophomore year, which was represented by Friday, I spent way too much time in campus ministry. I checked in with Father Roach, checked in with the director of campus ministry. I checked in with our friend Emily. So basically I said, okay, that was our sophomore year because my sophomore year was the first time I was an intern in campus ministry, and now I'm spending too much time there.
King of checking in.
Exactly. Junior year, I don't really know why yesterday was junior year. I had a reason, but I forget now why. But today's senior year because it's abbreviated, and I'm sad that I'm leaving, and so now today's senior year.
Yeah. That was what I was gonna say. Is today senior year because you're leaving early?
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I didn't leave college early. It just because
but it's abbreviated.
COVID felt like it was abbreviated. Yeah.
Yes, mine was abbreviated.
Yeah.
I did do the leaving early in March, never to return.
I guess Saturday could have been junior year because it was just super busy, and my junior year felt super busy because I was abroad in the fall, and then when I came back in the spring, it felt like I had a lot of catching up to do, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, and so it was like everything was compressed into a smaller period of time. So maybe that's why, but I don't know. Just a little bit of how Justin thinks, and how it's like Thursday was freshman year, and yeah. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Let's make this the most clickbaity thing that I've possibly said all year for my intro. I slept in my sister's bed last night.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to Point of View. I'm Nick.
And I'm Justin.
And today we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions, our opinions on them, some of the more common ones in today's society, our own resolutions from the past and the present, and our resolutions for the show moving forward in 2022. Let's talk about things, Justin, from our
point of view.
Thanks. Sounds so bad. Let's back up now and say that she's at college. She is not there. I was laying in my own bed last night and I'm getting ready to sleep, whatever. And I hear this like fountain noise. And I'm like, what is that? I knocked the seltzer can that was on the shelf above my bed onto my pillow. And I could just hear it, and I was like, no. And it was one of those things where I like didn't even, when something like that happens and like your first thought for some reason isn't to pick up the can. You just like
Just
watch it,
watch
you're
it.
like, no. Yeah. So it got all over my pillows, like everywhere. I did eventually pick it up, but I was like, I dried it, but I was like, okay, now it smells a little, dare I say, fruity.
Fruity.
Yeah, it smelled like cranberry lime. So I was like, well, where can I go now? And I was like, to Jordan's room. So that is where I slept last night.
What will she think when if
Oh,
she
she already
hears?
knows because
Oh, she
so
already knows.
I sent a text in the family group chat saying sleeping in Jordan's room knocked seltzer into my bed. And I did that because I was afraid if somebody got up in the middle of the night and saw I wasn't in my room, they were gonna think I like
Or
I
even
don't know.
worse, if they didn't see, if they like saw that there was someone in Jordan's room.
Someone in her room sleeping. Yeah. So she laughed at it and wrote LMAO. And that
All
was
right.
at 1:24 this morning.
I guess she is okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It was yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's
well,
my clickbaity intro of the year.
I don't even want to say it.
What? Just say it. Just say it.
No, just the thing you probably want the title to be of the episode
Oh
that
yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah.
said. I don't want to
No,
say
see,
it.
I
I don't
don't
want to
know if
be
I
caught
do
saying
because
that.
that's too much.
Yeah,
That's like if
that's a
people
little
don't
too much.
know
We need to
the
we need to
story,
respect our image and
yeah, that's too much. Um, but yeah. Uh, we've already so we started asking people to send in their favorite moments from the show so far, and I don't know if you have seen the responses yet.
I have not.
Oh, you
Has
can
there been?
imagine which one is
Oh
already
yeah.
been
No, I
requested.
know. We'll probably be talking about that one.
Oh, for sure. We'll be talking for that for years to come. No. Um, all right, see you around.
Yes.
So
Well,
yeah,
this week is Christmas for those who celebrate Christmas.
it is.
Yes. Well, when the episode comes out, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Christmas is this week and New Year's is after that. And I always think that it's an interesting thing, like New Year's resolutions, you know? And
Yes.
not that it's an interesting thing, but just it's a good time to kind of reflect on how the year went and I don't know what goals, like look at your goals and see, are you meeting them? Do you want to change them? What things in your life do you want to change, if anything? Um, just like, I don't know, an opportunity for reflection. And so we figured we would talk about New Year's resolutions this episode, right?
Yes. Let's resolve to do just that. It's true. I just yelled to that. I'm sure everybody in my family is awake now, but not my sister because she's in school. Anyways, yeah. So I do want to talk. I did want to talk about New Year's resolutions this episode. First, before we even get into that, do you believe in them, or like, what are your thoughts on New Year's resolutions? You kind of talked about like this time of the year and what it's good for, but
Sure.
what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's interesting because in the last couple of years with the pandemic, time has just gone by and either really fast or really slow, and all of a sudden we're here and it's almost a new year, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already 2022 and the pandemic technically started in 2019, hence COVID
Mhm.
19, and it's just, oh my god, it's 3 years. Um,
Yeah. I actually have an interesting point about that. Do you want to hear something wild? And this might not phase you at all, maybe it will. Even though 2021 felt like a blink, at the same time it felt so long. And I'll give this
yes,
reasoning. Did you know the I mean, there were obviously people that knew, but did you know like the main like I don't even know, like the majority of the world didn't know who Olivia Rodrigo was at any point in 2020? I noticed that last night. Driver's license came out this year.
yes,
That's
in
wild to me.
January-ish, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, it was January 4th, I believe, because I checked her Instagram to see. I just think that's wild. Like obviously she was on the High School Musical show, which I have yet to see, but um I just think it's like I feel like she's already going on tour and like she has her album out and like I don't know. I feel like we've known her longer than a year, which
It's
I
very
have.
on brand. It's very on brand for you to use a pop star as a metric to tell time. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I've been doing that for 12 years now or 13 years now. 'Cause I literally do use like pop stars eras to
Tell time.
count time, to tell time, I guess. Like I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. Well, so I think that New Year's resolutions are good. I think it depends on how much pressure you put on yourself to make them last, because I feel like if you put yourself like put so much pressure on yourself to make sure like something happens, like for instance, everyone does or not everyone, but a lot of people do fitness and wellness type of resolutions, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to work out more, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to do this. But if you change that like just all of a sudden, when the ball drops December 31st straight to January 1st, then it's like I don't know how much of a probability it will be to keep that as a habit. But I do think it's a good time to, like I said, reflect on where you are and what types of things you want for your life and the person you want to be and all that stuff. But I think it needs to be more than just, okay, I'm going to start now in order for it to be a habit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's such a good it's such an interesting point that you bring up how people come up with their resolutions and then they're like this might actually be a sign that they're not that into the resolution when they're like, all right, I came up with this. I'm going to start on the 1st of January. I'm going to wait 3 weeks and
Right,
not
right.
care about it or
Yeah.
whenever you come up with it. And then I'm going to start on the 1st of January. That sounds like something that is
I'm going to
a
decide
recipe
what my
for failure.
resolution is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
And
third week of December.
yes, right? Like, and to be honest, I don't think, I would say probably, and this is not backed by science at all. I don't know the numbers
More
on this, but I would say that
pseudoscience with point of view.
yeah, literally. Um, Pseudoscience. Am I right? Anyways, I think that like I wouldn't be surprised if like 99% of New Year's resolutions aren't like people don't succeed with them
I'd
and
be
they don't
interested
go
in
through.
seeing that statistic. Yeah. Like
I would too. And
like
honestly, like I said, I just pulled that out of my ass. But um
like
I
right
think that
now, what percentage of people polled, like, cuz right now it's December, right? So like right now, what percentage of people polled have kept their New Year's resolution from 2020 into 2021?
I would
You know?
say not many.
I
Um
also think it's really funny. I don't You've mentioned just as a joke like the Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year. Now it's like Ryan Seacrest hosts it.
mhm.
But I think it's funny that the Times Square party or whatever on New Year's Eve, I think whoever's on the marketing team for Planet Fitness does a
I
really
was gonna
great job
say
because they know their holiday.
yes.
Because Planet Fitness is always there for New Year's Eve, and so they know what people are thinking, and they have
And
the
they have
hats
the
and
stupid like I don't even know what they are. They're like giant like inflatable what would you even call those?
flappy, flailing, inflatable
Yeah.
arm flailing tube people.
Yeah, not even tube people. They're just like blow up things that people hold and like whack around. They're
Oh,
like big
oh,
hot
oh! Those
dogs.
no, those are Thundersticks.
Thunder that
I
yes,
thought you
thunder
were talking
sticks.
about like the car at the car dealerships, the things that go.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Um,
Ignore that.
God, we love a thunder stick, am I right?
Yes.
Um, yeah, no, they do a phenomenal job. They actually had, and I don't know if this is an ethical thing either. By phenomenal job, I will say like just in marketing.
Yeah.
Um, but they had dancers going into 2021. They had like a Planet Fitness dance show as one of the performances. I don't know if this is because they couldn't get Mariah Carey. Not really sure. Um, do you remember that in 2016 when it was the memes that were like Mariah Carey took the last L of 2016 when her
Yeah.
mic wasn't working?
She
Oh,
got so angry.
good times, yeah. But
Was it just
yeah,
like
so
was the
I
dance show just to get people moving?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was really tacky, and it was somehow the cringiest. Well, not somehow. It was very easily cringe. Somehow the best part of the show, because I made fun of it with everybody that I was sitting with. We were like, "What is this?" Perfect segue that you brought up Planet Fitness. I have the top 10 uh, the top 10 most common
Resolutions?
resolutions of 2021
Oh, I would love
that I
to
can
hear them.
read if you want. All right, let's do it. Um, Eat healthier is number one,
Told
which
you.
is actually surprising
I'm
to
curious
me.
again how many of these are health and fitness related, which I guess makes
Yeah.
sense. But
So this was 37% of people polled. Um,
okay,
get more exercise was another
we're
37%.
two for
That was
two,
number two.
two for
So
two.
still 100% right now for the health and exercise. Um, Number three, save money or save more money.
Okay,
Okay, so
that
that's
makes
not.
sense. Financial goals, yeah.
Focused, then 37% of respondents said that. 24%, number four, said focus on self, which is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Number five is read more at 18%. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting to see that. Six, learn a new skill. Yeah, I can imagine that would be on there. Seven, make new friends. No. Um, eight, get a job or a new job. Okay, that makes sense. Nine, take up a new hobby. Isn't that like learn a new skill?
I
Kind
guess it
of,
would be the same
anyways.
thing or similar.
Number
Unless you go
10,
hiking, and that's like your hobby.
yeah,
It's not like
I
you can learn
guess.
hiking. You just kind of
Number
hike.
10, focus on my romantic relationship. That
Hmm.
should be number one. Interesting. Okay, so what are your thoughts on that? Because I have some thoughts.
I feel like a lot of those make sense. I thinking about like what my resolution would be or is going to be. I think mine definitely falls within one of those categories, and so I think that yeah, it makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of health and wellness. I heard rethinking your finances,
Mm-hmm.
um, rethinking your not rethinking your relationships, but like wanting to be more intentional about your relationships. I feel like that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yes.
Yeah, what was your source for that?
I don't like my source for this. It's Weight Watchers or WW. I don't know why, but that was the most
Oh,
like recognizable link that I saw aside from, and it's also the first one that comes up, believe it or not, when you look up top 10 New Year's resolutions. I don't like them though, because I've heard that I don't know this for sure, but I've heard that they don't have the most ethical practices and just like, I don't know. There's a lot of uh, discussion now about projects like that to lose weight and if they are, you know, actually healthy for people. Because I agree. Like a lot of people, I know that it's triggering for a lot of people to see like I'm gonna lose weight in 2021 or I need to do this or do that. It's like just um I don't know why I would even be in the position of authority to say this, but just like I guess do what makes you feel happy
hmm.
there. Well, like I
Yeah.
don't think that even needs to be said. People should know that, like I don't it feels unnecessary, but I guess it's something that we need to say.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to know the source so we could, you know, be transparent,
Yeah.
but also note that they, because it's Weight Watchers, there could be some bias towards the ones that are more towards
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
health and
I
wellness.
I literally just looked it up on my phone. This is not like a
Yeah.
um
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
So, have you thought about any of what your New Year's resolution might be? Have you done New Year's resolutions before?
I have I don't know. I love the idea of like a fresh start. That's really fun and fresh. But I don't know if I I love the idea, but I think it just you set yourself up for failure, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Who actually follows through with the resolution all year long? Like I've had in the past, like one of them was I don't know, one of them was Do not fall asleep during the podcast. No. One of them I like. One year I wanted to be kinder. One year I wanted to be more organized. One year I wanted to, um, exercise more. I'm trying to think. Just, just like be better. That's what everybody's resolution boils down to is they want to improve on themselves.
Right.
But it's usually like my friend Tom has said, like January 2nd or January 1st, busiest day of the year for Planet Fitness. January
That's what I'm
3rd
saying.
looks like a normal day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if it, like everybody that just got their memberships are like, yeah, I'm all right. And I would be, that's not my resolution, but I would be guilty of that too, because I mean, you saw me get on a treadmill for 2 days and we saw how that happened, how that went. Um, so
My
yeah,
leg.
yeah, literally. Well, like, uh,
It goes
but
along with what I said earlier about like putting that pressure on yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with
yes,
putting pressure on yourself to reach your goals and all that stuff. But I don't know, it's like okay, this is my resolution. I need to stick with it. I need to stick with it. And it's just so easy to I find at least speaking from my personal experience to fall off when I have that pressure. It's like the one day that I take off from I don't know, say my goal is to work out like 3 days a week, right?
mhm.
If I say Monday, Wednesday, Friday I'm gonna work out and I miss a Monday, it's so easy to just be like, oh well, I missed Monday, so I can miss Wednesday, and then I can miss Friday, and then it's no longer a thing.
Mhm.
So that's what it sounds like. Is it boils down to that pressure.
Right. So which leads me to my next point that I wanted to talk about because I saw something the other week and I really liked it. I don't remember what the source was. I just know it wasn't Weight Watchers. Um, Sorry, Oprah, we'll get them next time. Um, but I saw something that was like, instead of thinking of your resolution as like a goal and something that you're going to change, kind of think of it as something that you want to guide, use it as a guide to guide your year.
Mm.
Um, because we all get busy and we're all gonna forget, at some point about our resolutions. But if you use it more as a guide and you're like, okay, this is what's gonna guide my values this year. These are my values this year, and this is what's gonna guide me. Um, it becomes more of a support to your year, I guess, if that's the word that I want to use, instead of something that you have to reach, if
Mm.
that makes sense. You're not like reaching for it, it's kind of underneath you to support the year.
I
And I
like that.
liked that so much better because it's not, you can't fail, first of all, because we all love to fail. Not really. I hate it. But I don't know, it just seems better for well-being and it seems more
Right.
obtainable, whatever the word is.
Yeah. No, it
Oh
sounds
my
like
god, there's a bug.
you just you restructure the way you think about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, perspective is everything, obviously.
Right.
Um, but with that said, what if, because I kind of answered this already, what are some of your past resolutions, if you've had any?
I don't know how much I've done them. I mean, they've been the workout things because I can be so lazy sometimes. So
Same.
just getting myself motivated to go for runs
Hmm.
or I don't know, I'm not a big weightlifter, but I will do it and I'll do like body weight stuff. But
Hmm.
getting myself to work out, like I said, that 3 times a week, I think that's really important. Um, or at least get up and like get off my ass. Because I like whether I'm working and like in front of a computer or I'm moved from my computer to my couch. It's like I'm
That's your
all I'm
exercise for
always
the day?
that's my exercise. Yeah, no, but actually doing like I don't know. I don't know if I've really done them, and if I have, I don't know if I've completed them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever really done them to be honest. So I
That's
like the word
actually shocking to me
really.
because you're very much someone who loves a plan and
Yeah,
loves
well,
self
yeah.
improvement. As somebody who has shared with us that the type of book that you read the most is self help
It's
books,
help books. Yeah.
I'm very surprised. But yeah, that's fair. I mean, in 2020, this was,
I
I
can't think
can't even,
at least in recent history.
what?
I can't think of ones that I've done in recent history.
Yeah. Well, in 2020, I thought I was, I don't even know, Socrates, and was like, I'm gonna just, my resolution is to not have one, and I'm gonna let whatever comes, and I think, I don't know. And then
Got
a
really
pandemic
meta.
happened, and I was like,
Yeah.
what a loser. I'm kidding. Um, no, but I was serious about that. I was like, I always make resolutions, and this year I'm just gonna try and sit back and let whatever happens happen. And it certainly happened. Uh, yeah, and that was right before my mental health took a nosedive. Before the pandemic even happened, then it was like, oh, here, let me give you a side of pandemic with that. Um, I was like, can I substitute it
and
for the
and
fries
mental
next time?
health is arriving in a Honda Accord.
A Honda Accord. This is random, but we talk about religion sometimes. Have you seen the meme about Jesus being able to about Jesus taking the wheel?
I've seen many memes of those. I don't know if I know the one you're referring to for sure.
Yeah. So somebody was like, I mean, Jesus couldn't drive, so it seems a little bit irresponsible to ask him
To,
to take the
to let
wheel.
Jesus take the wheel.
Yes. And somebody said, no, you're so wrong. He did drive. He says in whatever Bible passage it is, for I do not speak of my own accord. So he was driving, but it's a Honda Accord this whole time.
That's funny.
Yeah. I really just got off track there. I want to move forward and talk about resolutions for this year,
Yes.
if you have any. So I'll let you go
Yes.
first.
No, yeah, I've thought about this because, well, one, I knew we were going to do an episode, and it'd be pretty boring if I said, "Oh, I don't really have one." So yeah, I have a couple of things that I have in mind. Again, I'm going to try and use your kind of restructuring tip because I don't know if they're not necessarily health and wellness in the sense it's like working out and dieting, but um, they are self-care and hobbies, which is like two of the categories that you had mentioned with your top 10. So the first one is being more intentional about how I spend my time and making sure that that intentionality comes from me and not from other people's expectations of me, if that makes sense. Are you
Ooh, I
are you
love that.
are you familiar with Myers-Briggs personality type?
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
I would
I've been
love to do an episode on that
yes.
eventually.
So I'm kind of obsessed with those. And so my personality type is, let me pull it up. I just make sure I'm correct. It's ESFJ. And on the website 16 the number personalities.com, it says that weaknesses of the ESFJ are one of them, and this sounds like cocky, but it says too selfless. It says the other side of the ESFJ sometimes try to establish their value with dotting attention, something that can quickly overwhelm those who don't need it, making it ultimately unwelcome. Furthermore, consuls often neglect their own needs in the process. So I don't know.
Interesting.
I think it's interesting because I do kind of feel like that. Like I am often there for other people and I want to continue to be there for other people, but also I want to be intentional about like how I'm spending my time and if I'm spending it in ways that I want or am I spending it in ways that other people want of me. So that's one of
That's
my
a
resolutions.
phenomenal answer.
The other one is just
Forget my
simply
dumb idea. That's great. To quote Patrick Star. I think I've used that before on the show. Um,
the other one that I have is just simply I want to cook more because in fall of 2020, yeah, fall of 2020, I did a lot of cooking because
yes.
we were living, Dan was with me. We were living in New Hampshire, and we decided that we were all gonna cook, like pick a day of the week, and we were gonna cook. And since moving back home, I have not done that, and I've also promised my mom that I was going to do a little bit more. And then I got back home, and I was just went right back into the high school mindset. So I haven't done
Yeah.
any cooking. But I
Yeah.
want to do
Same.
that more and kind of just like explore that piece because I do enjoy it. I don't like the prep work, but my mom also, when I cooked for her birthday, she was like antsy because she's like, I'm not used to not preparing dinner. So, so if she wants to do the prep work, Mom, if you're listening, you can do the prep work and I'll do the cooking.
And there's her weekly shout out.
Weekly shout out.
Should
I've
we
worked
also
it
start
in.
counting out your grandparents' reps or your
My
grandfather's reps
grandfather's
again?
reps. Yeah.
He's probably what? He's definitely past mile 2 by now.
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like
I'll say
he
three and
is.
a half.
Yeah, yeah. I would even give him 4 to be
Four.
honest.
Yeah, we'll go round up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him
So,
4.
so those are the resolutions. Let's say that I've thought of. What about you? What have you been thinking?
So I want to really focus on self-compassion because we've talked about it before. Um, but I don't think I'm good at it, and I don't think many people are good at it, like at all.
Sure.
But when I say self-compassion, it's different from self-love. It's different from, you know, face masks and buying yourself things. Although that is part of it for me because I love a good face mask with collagen. Um, but okay, so I want to try and focus on radical self-compassion. And I want to stick to here comes my love of a schedule. I want to stick to a schedule with it because I feel like I really need to do it aggressive, and I feel like a lot of us need to do it aggressively. Because think about all the bad things you say to yourself without even realizing it during the day. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just me, but I feel like I really am not alone there. Because we're all our worst critics. Specifically, what I would like to do is because I kind of thought this out beforehand, but I'm not. It's open to edits. I want to wake up, think of 3 things that I am grateful for, and 3 things that I love about myself, and write them. I have a whiteboard next to my bed. I want to write that on the whiteboard and have that be like my intention. Like just think about it throughout the day, like my intentionality, I guess.
Sure.
I want to listen to a podcast on my way to work, not Point of View, because I listen to that. It's not out at 8 in the morning. That comes out at 12. But I've been really liking Kimberly Quinlan's anxiety, and I think she calls it the anxiety and OCD toolkit. It's not just for people with OCD though. It can work for anybody. And not all, to be honest, I don't think I've listened to an episode about OCD yet because I'm still just starting it. But she talks about it through a self-compassion lens, and I think it, like, just to listen to one episode a day on my way to work would be a really good start to the day. Because like another thing, so like let me back up a little bit. I don't want to be on my phone when I wake up, so I want to set a rule for myself that when you're in your bed in the morning, no phone, because that just can really ruin your day before you're even out of bed. That's another way I want to practice it. Some other ways I want to, like, I really want this to be on, and it sounds like a rigorous schedule, but it's really not. Like, if you think about it, it's like you listen, it's all passive stuff, I guess. Well, not really, the active writing on the whiteboard, but like listening to a podcast in your car doesn't take any real effort. I'm driving to work. I like treating myself to things, so my like go-to self-care thing during the day at work is to get my my colada at Dunkin' Donuts, even though it's like 5 degrees out. And it also, I love it because it's a conversation starter. I always, and every time I order it, if I go in, the barista or the worker at Dunkin' Donuts comments on it, like any Dunkin' Donuts, and how much you're like, oh, that looks so good, like what, and then like literally their coworkers will be like, oh my god, what is that? And it's just like a very nice like human connection moment. I love talking to the people there because they're so
inspiring others by your drink. Yes.
No, it's really, I just like that it's a talking point, so then you start talking and it's like, oh, you should really try it. And it's just like two people that you don't know at all sharing a moment, and it's super kind. And then you get to tip them. And that's also self-compassion, in my opinion, is doing kind deeds for others. We've talked about kindness and how it comes back to you. Not in terms of like, oh, if you do something nice will happen to you, but like the feeling is how it
Right.
comes back to you.
Right.
But yeah, I want to do that. And really, I'm going to shut up in a second, but we've talked about self-compassion before and how it's, being with yourself in your suffering. And I don't know, I think I just really need to I was thinking about this. Let me do what I do best and relate this to Lady Gaga. When I'm doing ERP and stuff like that, and we've talked about ERP a little bit in the past, it's, treatment for OCD. It can be really scary, and it can also feel really, one of the like main things that people who have it and do it say is that it feels irresponsible and scary. But I want to think of that as my standing on the roof of the Texas stadium that she jumped off at the Super Bowl moment when everybody's watching, and it was just such a brave thing to do. And like, you really like, I love performances. I love watching like the Super Bowl and how intense it is and how nervous it is, and they do it anyways. So yeah, those are some of the things I want to do, but I'm not going to hold myself to it as if it's, I guess I am holding it to myself.
Well, you're not going to guilt yourself if you miss a day or if you don't do something. Yeah.
But I think it's cool because the days that it's hardest to do are when you could use it the most.
Right.
So that'll be interesting to see how that works as a resolution. And I would love for our first episode of 2022 to be talking about these again and see how we've held up.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Something that I was thinking about as you were talking was that I think something else I don't know if I'm going to call it a resolution, but something else I want to be thinking about as the new year comes on is not guilting myself so much. And we've talked about this on prior episodes. In fact, we have a whole episode about forgiveness. Yeah. But I think I do that way too much, is like holding myself to an unattainable standard and having my expectations be so high that if I don't meet them or if I'm not extraordinary, then I'm not good enough, or I'm guilting myself because I'm doing this and doing that. And also like being okay with mistakes that I make because I'm a human. And that is really difficult for me, I think, too, is that because I hold myself, and we've talked about perfectionism too. Oh my gosh, might as well just do the highlights now. Yeah. But yeah, just basically being okay with mistakes that I've made, and also not guilting myself, because I find I do that a lot and it's harmful, and I don't want to be that for myself.
Well, you said it's interesting because you talked about being extraordinary, and if you're not extraordinary, you're not doing a good job. And Kristen Neff, who researches self-compassion, talks about that in her TEDx talk, how it's not okay in our culture, in our society, to be ordinary. We all need to feel extraordinary in order to feel good about ourselves. But when you think about that, if we're all extraordinary, first of all, that's not realistic. But if we're all extraordinary, what are we? We're all ordinary, because ordinary means we're the same as everybody else, right? Right. So it's not okay for us to be average in our mind. Right. And she gives the example of like, if somebody came up and said, "Oh, you're an average mother," or "You're an average," that talk was average. She said, "I would be crushed." It's not okay to be. So being okay with like that common humanity, because that's another way to rephrase. I'm not saying we're average people, but I mean, we are average people. Everybody's an average person at the end of the day. We can do extraordinary things, but we're all average people. That is the common humanity right there.
Right.
And sometimes we're less than extraordinary. And by less than extraordinary, I mean less than, ordinary. Sometimes we fail, and that's okay.
Right. No, yeah, I like that. I'm going to have to listen to more Kristen Neff, because I remember you talked about her on another episode.
She is so awesome, and she might as well do ASMR too, because she's very relaxing. Yeah, so I think we should definitely check in on these later. Do you have any, this was my other talking point that I was curious. What are your thoughts about goals for Point of View for 2022? Because we've talked about, that was one question that I asked you in our 75 questions or 72 questions episode. What's a goal you have? But that was kind of like a rapid fire, like name a goal you have. All right, question 23. What are some of your hopes and expectations for this show in the new year?
Good question. Well, I think one of the things that I also wanted to do for the new year, and I have told the two of you this, that I want to become more knowledgeable about editing post-production, because I feel like if I have a podcast, I want to at least be able to have some skills in editing, and I'm not taking Dan's job at all. I just want to be able to, like, I don't know, be knowledgeable in that, because I don't have much experience in editing. So personally, I want to be able to learn how to edit the podcast. Second thing is I want to be able to evolve, but I'm not quite sure how. Because when we talked about, okay, are we going to take a break for the holidays? Are we not going to take a break? It made sense to take a break. And I think breaks provide a good opportunity for growth. And I think there are definitely ways that we've had our first go about it. We by the end of it, we would have done 23, really 24 episodes, because the bonus episode.
Yeah, because of the bonus.
And so just trying to think about, okay, what worked, what didn't, what do we want to change, what do we want to keep, how do we want to prepare more, do we want to prepare less, do we want to have, like, discuss episodes, not that we don't discuss episodes, but like meet before we do the episode to kind of plan out, okay, this is how we're going to segue into this and this, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know how much planning we want to do and what, but I don't know. I want to evolve the show somehow, but I'm not sure how yet. But I'm looking forward to figuring that out during the break and having conversations with you and Dan.
That's a great answer. I was going to say explanation, but that's a great answer.
Yeah. What about you?
So for me, as somebody who has been perfectionistic in the past, this show for me is an exercise in not doing that, in the way that the show itself, in my opinion, is just the platform. We come on here, we record something, we say it, we joke, we spew a bunch of bullshit, and then we leave. And then Dan edits. But, and I kind of love it. It really is an exercise in just allowing things to be. We speak authentically. And then we leave. So I kind of love that aspect of it. And then we just put it out, and it's not perfect, and that's something I love. I still would like to balance that with elevating the show for the new year, in the new year. Yeah. One thing I would love to start doing is opening, not only with our like, what's your opening, like what happened to you this week, but one thing you're grateful for in the moment. I think intentionality would be really cool to open the show with. We also now have our mantra. Shout out at mind on my mantra, periods in between each word. We speak our truth to learn the truth. And I really, really love that. We haven't talked about that yet, but I really, really want to incorporate that more into the show moving forward, in the way that we say it the best we can. I mean, example, when I was talking about Weight Watchers, I said what I wanted to, and it wasn't perfect, clearly, but we speak the truth, and it kind of informs our own knowledge,
Right.
Like our own knowledge of kind of how we want to say it. So I learn even when I'm talking about different things on the podcast,
Right.
I'm really excited to just to get creative in ways to advertise the show and just different segments of the show. I'm really excited to do that.
Briefly, before we go, are there any topics you're interested in for the new year?
Ooh. Yes.
I can go.
I don't know if I want to say that. I have a list.
Yeah.
I have a list, but okay, I will say this. If anybody listening, because we know how many listeners we have, and we get a humbling amount, like I'm appreciative of all of you. I really want to know what all of you want to hear us talk about, because when we ask about these things, we don't get many responses. Like, I'm just
Crickets.
curious what people want to know. You know,
Yeah.
like there are people out there. We know how many people are listening. I just want to know what they want to hear us talk about. So I'm excited to, talk about from our perspective things that people want to hear. But also, I have my own list that I'm really excited about. If you want me to name one, I want to do
name one, and I'll
Myers-Briggs.
name one. Yeah, Myers.
Yeah.
I think Myers-Briggs would be a really fun episode. It could be like a
Yeah.
fun and serious episode, but it could be.
Yeah.
We could bring in that. We could bring in like Enneagram. I think that'd be a
Keely.
lot of fun.
Someone text Keely. Our friend Keely loves the Enneagram.
An episode topic that I want to do, which is super deep, but of course Justin sucking the air out of the room is not uncommon. And I think we've expressed this before, but talking about race and racism and multiculturalism,
Yes.
that's an episode that I really want to do.
So that is one thing that I am regretful, is that I wanted to talk about that this year. And we've had conversations about talking about it, but we want to have a guest and make it, an appropriate conversation.
Right. We want to really prepare for that
time.
episode. Yeah.
And we do want to be intentional about that. But that is not just a goal, but that's a promise that we will talk about that in the new year and very soon.
Yes. But anyway, Nick, I know we're going to be talking soon because we have another episode after this, but I feel like this is our last
right
really
after this, pretty
conversational.
much.
This is our last really conversational episode. So, I don't know, feeling kind of sentimental.
I'm not, because I know we're recording like tomorrow.
But it's been a joy to do this, go on this journey, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more because we'll be reviewing our progress so far in the next
that's
episode.
The one that's gonna get me in the field.
Fair enough. But
do you want to hit us with that sexy outro? Is that how I said it before? I forget.
I think you said hot intro, but I guess sexy, hot, I don't know.
We're elevating it.
We're elevating the pod.
We're 21 now. We can say that. Well, I'm
evolving.
24, but I mean, and you're 22, but I meant this is episode 20. No, this is episode 22. We're 22, guys.
Oh, hit him with that hard intro is what you said.
Hard intro.
Now we're talking about now we're doing outro. So anyway, you know who I am. I am Justin Dew.
I'm Nick Gervasi.
And you can reach us on Instagram and Facebook at Point of Dew Podcast, or by sending us a voice message on our website, anchor.fm/Point of Dew. If you enjoy our show, give us a rating or review in the Apple Podcast Store, or share us with a friend or family member. We really appreciate it and are truly grateful for your support. As always, we hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening, and until next week for our final episode of 2021.
Are you happy? Are you winning now? You are trying, you're fine now. I am happy.